It's been a while since I've covered some immigration news, so here I am sharing some of the latest updates in US immigration. We'll be discussing a lot of things in this video, starting with the H1B lottery results data, H1B stamping in the US, birthright citizenship, OPT elimination bill, and issues people are facing at the port of entry while entering the US. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Priya from It's OKR, and if you're new today, It's OKR is a content platform for South Asian immigrants, and we aim to educate, entertain, and empower them. Let's start with something a lot of people are anxious about. Update on birthright citizenship in the US. So, a lot has been said about President Donald Trump's Day 1 executive order to ban birthright citizenship in the US. Something that is part of the Constitution but is interpreted differently by the Trump administration. As we already know, multiple federal judges, both from liberal and conservative backgrounds, quickly blocked the order, issuing nationwide injunctions and labeling it blatantly unconstitutional. And now, this issue is in the Supreme Court. And May 15th was the first time they heard the arguments in this case. But the Supreme Court arguments have primarily been focused on whether federal district court judges have the authority to issue nationwide injunctions that block presidential directives rather than directly addressing the constitutionality of the birthright citizenship itself. The administration believes and argues that such broad injunctions overstep judicial authority and wants the court to limit lower courts' power, which could make it harder to challenge federal policies in the future. During oral arguments, justices questioned the Trump administration's lack of plan for implementing such a sweeping policy change, with concerns raised about the potential chaos for hospitals, states, and millions of families. If the Supreme Court sides with President Trump on limiting nationwide injunctions, it could make it easier for future executive actions to take effect while legal challenges proceed, potentially impacting not just immigration policy but a wide range of federal actions. The Supreme Court's decision is expected later this year. Experts say that regardless of the court's ruling on injunction, any attempt to permanently end birthright citizenship would likely face further legal and constitutional challenges. Moving on to the next big topic, H1B stamping in the US. As you all know, there was a pilot conducted last year where a few eligible people got the opportunity to complete the H1B stamping in the US. The pilot, by all standards, was actually a success, and it was later notified that a full-time stamping in the US will start soon, not just for H1B visa but for other visas as well. However, until now, there was no news on it, and we finally see some hope. A bipartisan group of House lawmakers is calling on Secretary of State Marco Rubio to expand and make the pilot program permanent. They urge the State Department to broaden the effort to include other visa categories such as E, H, I, L, O, P visas, and to issue clear eligibility guidelines. In all, 16 House lawmakers sent this letter, and it also said reinstating and expanding domestic visa renewals will alleviate backlogs, increase efficiency, and provide greater certainty for US employers, workers, and students. Here's the full letter they sent. And moving on to the next update, H1B lottery results data. We all know the H1B lottery results were announced in March, but USCIS has finally released data about this year's H1B lottery. There were 358,000 registrations this year, of which 7,800 were multiple eligible registrations, of which USCIS selected 120,141 registrations. Now, some of you may ask, if the overall limit is 85,000, then why did they select more? Fair question. That's because a lot of these selected registrations do not end up filing the H1B application. For example, last year USCIS selected 135,000 registrations, and even then USCIS had to conduct a second lottery. Which brings us to a question that a lot of you may have. Will there be a second lottery this year too? It's probably too soon to comment about that, but looking at last year's data, there is a possibility. But please don't hold me to it. Let's wait and watch. What's interesting, however, is that the number of registrations were almost 27% lower than last year. The total number of employers filing for lottery this year also reduced from 57,600 to 52,700. Probable reasons for this drop in registrations and employers could be higher registration fees of $215, uncertainty over immigration rules leading to fewer companies filing for the lottery, a general downturn in the economy leading companies to take jobs offshore completely. What do you think is the reason? Let us know in comments, and if your H1B lottery was selected this year. Follow It's OKR for more. Moving on to the next topic, OPT elimination bill. This is a big one. A bill was was recently introduced in the Congress that wants to eliminate the OPT program for international students in the United States. For those who aren't aware, the OPT program allows F1 visa holders to work in the US for up to 12 months after graduation, with STEM graduates eligible for an additional 2-year extension. Supporters of the bill argue that OPT undercuts American workers, especially recent graduates and those in high-skilled fields, by incentivizing employers to hire foreign graduates at lower cost due to payroll tax exemptions. They claim the program was never authorized by Congress and circumvents the H1B visa cap. While I understand that this bill is scary and may ring some panic alarms in your head if you're an international student at the moment, but there were plenty such bills that were introduced earlier. Despite the attention the bill has received, experts and stakeholders widely believe its chances of passing are very low. The bill has been referred to the House Committee on the Judiciary, but there is strong opposition from business groups, universities, and even within Congress. Immigration attorneys and educational consultants have advised international students not to panic, noting that similar proposals have failed in the past and the current political makeup of the Congress makes the passage unlikely. As one attorney summarized, the Republicans do not have the numbers for this to sail through. And now finally, let's talk about issues that people are facing at the port of entry in the US. We've all been hearing and reading news about detentions and deportations of many immigrants and even green card holders. And frankly, it's scary. We've constantly been getting messages by people asking us if they should travel outside the country right now. Now we've heard both good and bad things. Some people have had bad experiences where they were taken in for a second inspection, while a lot of people had a very smooth experience. Those who've had bad experiences have spoken about their phones and laptops being searched and were asked to explain certain conversations about illegally working on a dependent visa. Yes, that has happened, so please do not do that. We've always advised against that. If you speak to an immigration lawyer, which I am not by the way, they will tell you not to leave the country if it's not absolutely necessary. However, our opinion is if all of your papers are in order and if you haven't done anything that should come across as a red flag, then you should be fine. So what are these red flags? Having worked with a fake consultancy while on an OPT, paying money to consultancies to keep you on a payroll to maintain status, having an alternate source of income on H1B which isn't passive, working for a company based in India and getting paid in INR while you are on H4. Yes, people are being asked point blank during a secondary screening if they worked illegally. Their phones are checked and any evidence of having done anything like this has been used for grounds to deport them. Basically, anything that you ideally shouldn't be doing on your visa is a red flag for them. We'll keep covering this issue as there are updates on it. If you want to learn about people's travel experiences, we have created a highlights on our Instagram, it's OKR page, so check that out. Those were the updates, you guys. I hope you found it helpful. Please hit that like and subscribe button and share your experiences in the comment box. Of course, we are not immigration lawyers. However, we regularly do Q&A with immigration lawyers, so stay tuned for the next one and ask your questions and use that forum. If things aren't going your way, remember it's OKR because they will eventually turn around. Until next time, this is Priya signing off. Have a wonderful day.